We're going to go game by game, matchup by matchup for the Saturday slate this weekend for Week 15 to help you with your fantasy football matchups. We're going to identify a must start, but we're really going to talk about a lot of players involved in these games. So you need to pay attention to this video so you can get an understanding of what these players are going to be about. For the Sunday slate, that video is going to come out tomorrow, and it's going to be split up by the Saturday and Sunday slates. That way you can get a little mixed bag before you see these games on Saturday and Sunday. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button, tap it with the finger on your phone, click it with the mouse on the computer, whatever you need to do to get the job done, because we're going hot and heavy on the waiver wire every single week. And like today, we help you set those lineups, we give you ideas, we cover the matchups, and in the off season, I'm a key resource to your rookies. I'm a key resource for your draft research because we hammer out these players and their values every single day throughout the off season, and this is going to allow you to get ready. If you do not click that subscribe button, you're probably going to miss out, and your league mates are going to get some of this advanced data and this information about the values on these players that you're not getting. So click the subscribe button, stop missing out. But let's look at this slate real quick. It's a Saturday slate. We're at the end of the season. We're going to start getting these, and we got 3 games on Saturday. It's split up. The 1 o'clock game, Minnesota Vikings at the Cincinnati Bengals. That one's going to be a fun one. We also have another one that could be lots of fun here. Steelers at the Colts, 4:30 matchup. And then the night game, the night capper, Denver Broncos traveling to Detroit to play the Lions. We know the Lions can push the pace. We know we can move the football on the Denver Broncos a little bit, and the Denver Broncos has been heating up. So Saturday looks like it's going to be a fun day of football, and we're going to start off with the Minnesota Vikings at the Cincinnati Bengals. We got a 48.5 over-under. That looks to be pretty high considering what we're seeing at quarterback on both teams, but both teams got some weapons. So Vegas is really just trying to be in the middle. And 40 is not super high because the over-unders can be in the 50s. It's kind of middle considering the market these days because a lot of over-unders are sitting around 35, 34 range. Lately, we got a tight spread. I look for this game to be a little crazy. I look for it to be off the hook. I could see this game script breaking multiple different ways. Badly being low scoring, but in a good way, it could be high scoring. And that's not me trying to be down the middle. That's just me analyzing the matchup here. Reason why both of these teams have good assets. The reason why for the opposite, both these teams are kind of hurting at quarterback. But Browning's been getting it done. He's been spreading the rock. That being said, obviously, Jamar Chase is a must start. You're never not starting him until he's out of the National Football League. But we still cover the stats here. 6.8 targets per game, 22.3% target share last 4 games. He's getting it done with Jabroni quarterbacks, even though he's been a little bit off and on, but he's still getting it done. You're also looking at T. Higgins. He's still getting some opportunities. He's still been off and on. He's still been getting it done. Same here with Joe Mixon. We got Chase Brown also in the fold. Not mentioned here, but he's got some upside. He's that gamble play. If you want to make it. But that's on you. I'm not telling you to do that. If you want to make it, because there's upside there. It could happen. It could happen. Just realize that if he strikes out, it could be in a big way. But when we look at the run backs, the other side of the ball, if you're stacking Bengals, you're running back by the other side. That's why it's called run backs. Because if the Bengals side hits, that means there's going to be players on the other end that's going to hit. If this matchup is humming, Jordan Addison, we're talking about the wide receiver 2 here, who's had a big season for a rookie. Been having some big games, having good production. This could be his matchup. However, we got some quarterback issues here. What's that going to look like? Are we going to trust it? Are we going to trust him in our lineups? That's going to be a huge conundrum this week, and I bet you I get a lot of start-sit questions with him, and that's understandable, and he's going to be a huge risk. Same thing with Justin Jefferson coming back from that injury, more than likely going to be playing this week. Sounds like what it's going to be like in the news. Pay attention to that. But Justin Jefferson, same thing, but the upside's there. If I'm a quarterback in this offense, I'm peppering him with targets. If I'm doing this offense, I'm just YOLOing him targets. That's what I'm doing, but let's see what they do on Saturday. Ty Chandler is going to be getting the work. He's going to be getting you some upside. Talk to a lot of people. A lot of people are starting him because they have to. Not because they really want to. Not because they're over the moon. Because they have to. You might be in that situation, and I understand. But he does have some upside in this matchup because we know he's going to be getting touches. We know he's going to be getting opportunities. We got a new quarterback in the fold here. That could lend to him getting more touches than usual. That could also allow him to rack one to the house with that 4.3 speed. Immense upside here. We have that Keaton Mitchell home run hitting speed here. That could be a factor here for his fantasy football production. You're not 100% trusting it, but a lot of people are starting him because they have to, and I understand that, and I feel for you. That being said, we're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Indianapolis Colts. We got a 42 over-under. I can really see how this matchup breaks. Both these teams are breakable in good ways for fantasy football. They're very malleable. They're very ambiguous, but they can also move the ball a little bit. This is going to be a fun matchup, I think. I think this one's going to break. I think this one's going to be one that goes off the hinges here. I think we're going to get some fantasy production, and I think this could be a sneaky matchup here. If you're working both slates, to create some stacks in DFS, because I think this slate's going to break. I think we're not going to know who's exactly going to go off, but I feel like we're going to have multiple fantasy contributors. Of course, you're looking at Michael Pittman. The stats are huge here. 13 targets a game, 35.9% target share in his last 4 games. Just been productive, getting workload here. Josh Downs might be on the comeback trail sooner than later. Who knows? He's been down as of late. No pun intended, but Josh Downs is a good wide receiver. No one's trusting Zach Moss. Heard a lot of people benching him this week. Heard a lot of that. Heard a lot about that. People choosing other running backs over Zach Moss. He's been on a cold spell here. He's still getting touches. He's still getting opportunities, but he's still running a little bit cold. Run backs, we know who we want to run it back with the Steelers. That's the thing about this. George Pickens, deep ball threat, big playmaker, downfield, A-dot, can be up and down, little bit risky, but the reward's always grand when it hits. Deontay Johnson, we got some question marks here going into this matchup. We'll have to pay attention to those. But target share opportunities when he's on the field. We got Warren versus Najee at the running back position. Pick your poison there because one of them's probably going to do something and the other one's going to be okay. And that's how we usually look at it from week to week. And that's because they're splitting the backfield. One pops off, one does a little something, the other one pops off, then the other one does a little something. I get it. That's weird analysis, but it's true. It's true. It's a true thing here. But when we look at this matchup, I feel like we're going to get multiple fantasy contributors. I think if you're looking for another sneaky option from the Colts, maybe Alec Pierce if they're slinging it deep ball city with that guy, getting air yards. But you really need to pay attention to these offenses here going into this matchup because you can really sneak away with something when it comes to fantasy production, especially if you're creating stacks for DFS. Broncos at the Detroit Lions. 48 over under. Vegas is trying to get some action here, and I could definitely see how this could be a high-scoring game because you can move the football on the Broncos, and that could push the Broncos to having to chuck it deep a bit. That means we might be looking at some Cortland Sutton action here. Javonte Williams should be getting touches. Looking at this matchup, though, we know we're looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is a good matchup for him. 9.2 targets a game, almost a 30% target share. We know he's good. He's consistent. So moving on from there, we got Gibbs versus Monty. Both these running backs getting touches, getting opportunities. Who's going to score the touchdown? That's really what we're asking here. We don't know. Gibbs getting work in the passing game. Monty's getting that trash between the tackles. We know what's up with that. Both running backs can be productive in this matchup. It's really favorable for both these running backs, so good to go with starting them. If you need a dart throw, it's always Jameson Williams. He's always a sneaky start. He's got upside air yards. He can swing for the fence, hit it out, or strike out. You don't know what you're going to get. Odds are off and on with him. There's a lot of off with him as of late, but still, if he hits on any deep throw, any deep bomb going his way, you know it's going to be a big game for him. Run backs, Cortland Sutton's pretty steady. He gets deep targets. You know he's getting air yards. He's going to be getting opportunities. You know, you can't say he's going to be a guaranteed hit, but you can guarantee he's going to be getting deep targets. Jerry Jeudy, bad year for him. Not the greatest performance here in 2023, but you want to look at him if you're hurting here. It really depends on how you're set up at wide receiver. Some people have to start him, and they're better off at the running back position, and that's why. But again, this is a matchup that could lend to him being fantasy productive because this could be a higher scoring game. Javonte Williams is going to get touches. Touches lead to opportunities, and that's all we want out of our running backs. If you're in a position where you got a lot of good running backs and you're questioning it, then you're lucky. Then you're lucky you got those options because not all of us do. And we got a guy like Javonte Williams. We're looking at that as gold, whether he hits or not, because he's getting touches. And we want running backs with touches. And if you don't know what it's like to be in that situation, then you'll eventually be there if you keep playing fantasy football. It's going to eventually happen. And if you're looking for a guy that could accidentally hit on the Broncos, I don't think we really got one. Maybe Mims, because he's always a threat to bring in a deep ball, but I really just don't see it happening. I think Courtland Sutton's your deep threat guy in this offense. I think Russ Wilson's just going to lob it up to him a few times. I think you're going to have some opportunities for him to score big, but also, with that being said, with him being a deep threat guy, you also got to reel those in, and there's a chance that he could go bust on you as well, but a lot of us have to take those opportunities. But those are the matchups for Saturday. We have 3 games. All of them look good. All of them look fun. We look like we got a lot of scoring going on in our future here. I'm going to have another vid like this coming out tomorrow for the Sunday slate. I think we got like 14 games on Sunday. So those are going to be fun to cover. Let me know who you're starting in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.